Hello, today we want to talk about line of time, human resources. Human resources is one of the case areas of driven to the transformation of organizations, as well as winning and retaining talent. The human resources career is gain grown with the organization field in our country and in the world. Faced with a market that competes for talent, with human capital being one of the most important assets for any company. The role of the human resources takes one of the new relevant in context of understanding and transformation toward more technological and inclusive entities. Next, we will explain a little about the evolution and change that the human resources career has undergone. Well, in 1825, what is it? Human Resources Administration focused on strengths management that contributes to growth and improvement of work's quality of life. In 1830 origins. Since the beginnings of the times, communities have uh, implementation, uh, human resources administration taking into account the forest, planning, organization. In this way, the work is divided for the common good and obligation are assigned to each of the members, achieve increase productive for the benefits of the community. In 1840, the Industrial Revolution is brought about the fundamental change in society from its economy, which was no longer based on agriculture and handicraft or on industry. The first step was taken toward the mobilization of tasks and the creation of worker and areas to improve the quality for life of workers in terms of housing, health, education, among others. The purpose was maximizing production at lower cost. Um, the next is 1900. In 1900, scientific management theory at the beginning of the 20th century when it became improved to take efficiency to the highest level, creating a demand free and increasing and a growing demand for products. Taylor considered the theory on in this area, described for basic principle planning, preparation, exploitation, and control. In this way, the human part was relegated to a second level and priority was given to take to the performance and mass production. In 1911, Frederick Taylor created the system of work organization and exposition times by teaming exposition times. Practice light of minutes of effort, no need to think, no need to work in groups, and multiple groups monetary compensation. In 1916, Henry Taylor, creation of the division of fundamental area for business, established the 14 principles of management, division of labor, authority, and responsibility, describing unity of command, unity of direction, subordinate and individual interest to general interest, remuneration and personnel, centralization, chain of command, order, quality, stability of personally in infinitive tense spirit. In 1944, Elton Mayon considered the father of the human resources. He carried out an study of human behavior at work, complementing the physical and physical needs and working conditions of the employee, demonstration greatly productive and contradicting the Taylor risk. In 1946, third of organization behavior complements most adapted to the needs for the employee since they are determined in the company of ethics, also known as needs and motivation, or as the human moment with industrial psychology. In 1947, Maslow pyramid in his theory formulation a hierarchy of human needs and argues that as the most basic needs are satisfied bottom of the pyramid, human begins develop higher needs and desires. The basic idea of the hierarchy is that higher needs occupy or attention only when the lower needs of the pyramid have been satisfied.
2001 Theory of Organizations as Social System. The goal of this theory is to try to about the scientific superficiality that has stained the sciences. Organizations are open systems since they maintain an active interaction with the environment and strive to exchange of matter, energy, and transformation with the environment and the transformation of them within their limits, which will separate the organization from the environment. In 2005, organizational development theory accomplished a chain of ideas about the relationship between the individual organization environment was created. Organizations in today's society are in constantly changing macro system, which provocates the need to design flexible and adaptable organizations. Organizational development is a management strategy that focuses on the human and social aspect of the organizations, on the organizational culture and climate, interventing in its process and structures. In 2013, since this year, human resources is responsible for the integrate management of different functions from the beginning to the end of the employment relationship in our organization. In 2014, this year, proposals were made to innovate in the development of new types of leaders who become drivers of the continuous transformations of organizations and creative leaders who are visionary, close, real, transparent, who foster relationship, conversation, and collaboration, and who ensures everyone in the organization to innovate, contribute, and contribute. I have never seen something like that. In 2015, they used to have an annual evaluation, but this year marked the beginning of the end of this static and ineffective way of measuring employees' performance as it didn't create an impact on the human resource community. In the years of 2016 to now, in technology, in this year 2000s, the human resources are become more agile and dynamic. One of the reasons for this change was increasing penetration of technology. Everything has been digitalized, from document management with other departments to the administration. It's an event service related to different types of benefits and incentives. The interview were conducted in person and the workplace, but now it is a little more common to conduct them online. In corporate reform, with these policies, companies begin to experience a change of mentality in which they look beyond the employees' numbers and production. Now, the employee is the most important asset and must be taken of care. Beyond, beyond the monthly salary, and companies are beginning to show interest in flexible remuneration with the purpose of benefits in a personal way the employees with service such as restaurant car, child car, of transportation and transformations of space and the way of working. The emergency of new technologies in companies has led to the transformation of workspace and the way tasks are performed. Thanks to these new tools, Office Office has gone from being made up of fixed and closed workstations to open and flexible space. This has also had an impact on the way of working, changing from more personal and individual model to one based on collaboration between employers. For example, in the company where I work, we used to eat our meals in the cubicle, but 2 years ago, I can see it was open and it has brought great benefits to the employers. Finally, without a doubt, human resource will be constantly changing to adapt to correct needs.
Hello, Miss Carla Yesenia Iturral Hernandez. I'm Kendra Maciel Iturral Hernandez, and they are my classmates Jennifer Figueroa and Karina Esteban. As you know, we are students from the administrations in the area human resources, and just we want to thank you for taking your time to answer this interview.
I am Carla Yesenia Iturralde Hernandez, head of the recruitment process for IMSS nurses. I have been working in this area for more than 20 years. Thank you for the invitation.
Now, I was wondering how many interviews have you conducted using this technique?
The recruitment technique that I like to use the most is the resume, as it helps you to know the level of ambition and commitment that the candidate has, among other things.
I'd like to know what do you think about the theory XY defined by Douglas McGregor?
Well, since it took me 4 years of experience to consider the technique the most functional for the hospital, I have been using it for about 14 years. Obviously, it depends a lot on the context, but another advantage of this technique is its adaptability.
Do you know how recruiting 4.0 on social recruiting is?
Yes, of course, it consists of the application of digital marketing techniques in the processes of talent recruitment and personal selection. It is a very creative way to carry out the process.
And now, can you tell me what you imagine the recruitment of the personnel will be in 10 years?
I believe that this part of the recruitment will be focused on a more vocational part. The needs of all companies will be identifying based on what workers would like to do in a certain area. That is depending on the context and the line of business of each company. The recruitment process will be focusing, for example, in the area of machines, patience, creativity, and logical mathematical ability will be very sought after in the future.
And the last question, um, would you mind tell us your opinion about the actual recruitment in your workplace?
Yes, I think that as in everything, there is always an area for improvement. Although so far the process we have in place has helped us. I have no doubt that in the near future we will have to make change. Maybe go back to some methods we used to use, but improve.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us your experience and time. Thank you. See you soon.
I believe that this part of the recruitment will be focused on a more vocational part. The needs of all companies will be identifying based on what workers would like to do in a certain area. That is depending on the context and the line of business of each company. The recruitment process will be focusing, for example, in the area of machines, patience, creativity, and logical mathematical ability will be very sought after in the future.